Okay, what did I do? What the heck did I do to my 2017 beautiful Honda Fury? Well, I put a windshield on it. Destroyed the good looks and the lines of this gorgeous bike, and I put a windshield on it. Why would anybody do that? Because I really need a windshield, because I use it every day as a daily driver. I commute 150 miles a day, and traded in another bike I had, where over 3.5 years I put 55,000 miles on it. It was time. It was a VT 1100, beautiful bike. I loved it. It was time for that to go, and I wanted a fuel injected bike. And quite frankly, this was a leftover, and it was the cheapest transportation that I could find, and not a bad looking bike either. I really like it. It's got some grunt to it too, so it's a pretty nice bike. Anyway, I needed a windshield, and it's detachable, which is the nice part about this one. It's Memphis shades. I don't know if you can see that. It's an MEP, Mama Echo Papa 5711 windshield with the Mary Elephant Bravo 1922 brackets, and it fits. The first thing they want you to do, and the reason why I just want to go through this really quick, was that there's some sketchy items in the instructions that I want the next guy to have a little easier time of it. That's all, really. That's all it is. A public service type thing. When you're done putting it on, it fits right in here, and there's this little locking mechanism that slides forward and it unlocks it. You can take it off, which is a nice thing, which I will do when the weather is nice and all that stuff. And it fits right down on the bottom right here. It's like a fork, and it fits around right in here inside these grommets right there and there. And you can see how that fits together. The first thing they want you to do, of course, is to build the bracket onto the windshield. You know, probably a good idea to save the box. You can build it right on top of the box so you don't scratch up the thing. It's only lucite, it's not polycarbonate, which is a little bit of a problem for me, but that's all right. It wasn't all that expensive either. And you can see the way this goes. These tangs go in towards the headlight, and the tangs go towards the headlight. When you put it on here too, you have to kind of mush this together a little bit. It's splayed apart a little bit, but you can get it. It's not even that hard. I'll go through that a little bit. I'm not going to take it off, but I'll go through it. I just want to go through some of the high points as to what they want you to do to put it on here that isn't too well explained in the instructions. In order to get the turn signals lower than the windshield, you've got to lower them. In order to lower them, you've got to take the clutch side, the left one, and you have to dig the wire out of a wire keeper. They call it a wire loom. It's like a harness, and but it is a metal thing, so you just have to dig it out of there. You got to take it off and do it to give it some slack so that you can lower it. But something else you got to do is there's two clips in the back of. There's a clip in the back of each one of the turn signals that, due to the configuration of them, you have to take the one from the left side, turn it over, and put it on the right side, and vice versa. And then it fits. And it all fits together. Then there's no interference between that and the tang right there. In order to do that, you have to loosen this. This is takes a 10. That's the bracket. This is the thing that pinches the pinches the turn signal onto the fork tube. That's a 10 millimeter on this side. Let's see if I can get a picture of it on this side. And an 8 millimeter wrench on that side. You take it off and then you could see that clip right here. It's this little plastic, actually it's metal. It's like kind of like a long half moon shaped clip. Anyway, you take that off and you put that one in your pocket or somewhere where you're not going to lose it, and don't lose the screw either. Don't lose the nuts and bolts anyway. Get down there. There we go. You're going to need it for the other side. You'll need it to put this back together again. And you can see how the wire just comes out from over there. There's a little groove where that wire runs along, and there's an opening right at the end of this clip. Anyway, to get this thing going, after you've loosened up this side, then you have to do the part that's the biggest pain in the neck part of it. You see that coily wire? That's the thing that they call a loom, and it's holding other wires and harnesses, such as the speedometer cable, you know, things that are important, like the headlight, things like that. It provides juice to the headlight and all that. What you got to do to dig out the turn signal cable out of this corkscrew, you got to take it off. I tried to do it the other way, and the instructions say take it off. Well, how do you do that? There's this screw right here, right there, right where my finger is pointing, and that is it came with Loctite and everything else, as one would expect. And there's no room to swing a wrench in there either, and there's no room. Plus, you don't want to damage any of the nice shiny parts and everything else. So, just the 8 millimeter wrench, and just a little bit at a time, and it fights you the whole way out. Just letting you know that right now. Then once you take it off, though, gently pry out. Well, you probably I ended up taking it all out of there. You end up prying it out. All three wires, all three harnesses. Take out the turn signal wire right here and just leave it slack. And then put those all back together again. It goes back together easier since there's more room in there. And go ahead and tighten this thing up. Now when you're tightening this up, make sure that the little plate that attaches that curly Q thing up there is flush with the top, or else it's not going to be tight. You want it tight. You want it back together. You don't want that falling off as you're driving. So anyway, that's one thing. So that's another step of this thing. The other side was really easy, and you didn't have to take anything off because of the construction of it. You just have to take it out of the. It's just held right in. It's just held right into this other clip, and there's really nothing to do. You just dig it out of there real easy, and it just comes right out. They even tell you that in the instructions. And here's the, and so what you end up doing is you loosen this one also. This is the right-hand side one, and you take it off. Now, what I end up doing, this is actually the one from the left side that I've already turned over and put on the right side, and vice versa. I'm just showing it to you what it looks like after it's done. It fits. And there's a reason for it, and it works. It's got this little thing on the bottom that here that it would dig right into where you're putting this bracket to hold the windshield on. So you don't want that. All right, so anyway, once you do that and you lower these down, the rest is not so hard. The rest is pretty easy. Look at it, it's raining on my brand new windshield. Look at this. Oh well. It's going to get rained on a whole lot before I'm done with it. This right here, they got pretty good. You put the lower ones on first, and the lower one on this one on both sides. And make them finger tight. Don't make them too tight. Make them a little bit better than finger tight. And the same thing with the one above it. And go ahead and put the bottom forks in there, and you got to wiggle it around until you get them to fit, the bottom forks of the bracket. Once you get it good, then you can go ahead and tighten it a little bit more. Don't tighten them too much. One thing I got to complain about, let me get out of the rain here for a minute, is that it's aluminum, and you're threading a steel bolt into aluminum. And I'm an industrial engineer, and I know that you could strip that thing right on out of there. That's what clamps it on there. Otherwise, it's a pretty ingenious little setup. It's not so bad. It's pretty ingenious. And so, once you get it on there, and the top part snaps in there, make sure you get the top part, as they tell you, the top part of the bracket into the upper bracket. There's two brackets, looks like about 2.5, 3 inches apart. And you got to push it on enough so that this little sucker, you can even pull it back with your finger and get it to snap on there and push it out, and then it rocks into place. And there you go. Other than that, other than fiddling around with the wire loom and that kind of surgery, it really wasn't all that bad. And there you go. All right, if you like this video, I don't care. If you don't like this video, I still don't care. But I'm just kidding. But anyway, I hope it helps somebody in the future. You take care.